WFM 91.7. It is Happy 7. And today is a beautiful Tuesday. Today, April 16th, 2024. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing great because, yes, we're going to have an amazing start and amazing day, really. I mean, in recent times, I just tell myself in the morning, whatever it is that comes, I'm just going to just keep my calm,
Mhm.
whatever it is, because life is stressful enough to be stressing yourself or
Mm.
to be adding to your stress in any way, shape, or form. So, whatever it be, it external factors, be it human resource, be it anything, nah, this is where my mind wants to be, and there it's going to remain. And that's just it for me, Esther Alaribe, this morning. Hi, Miracle Philip. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really great. Thank you, Esther.
All of that excitement. How are you
Um,
doing?
Absolutely. What more?
I'm doing great. Feels good to be here
Mm.
on the newspaper review this morning. So yesterday on the radio, we had a couple of conversations, and yes,
Mm-hmm.
in case you on the other side you're not aware, on the 14th April 2024, made it 10 years since the Chibok girls were abducted from government girls secondary school
Secondary from
in
Chibok.
Chibok in
Yeah.
Borno State, and this happened in 2010, where over 276 schoolgirls were abducted.
2014.
Yeah, in 2014, yeah.
Mm.
And now it's 10 years already, and we're still having to demand for the release of some of those girls. Over 91 girls are still missing. And we're also asking the government for proper reintegration and rehabilitation for the ones who are back home with
Mm.
their family members. Send them back to school. Let's know what exactly this young women now, not girls anymore, really, because I mean, 10
Yes.
years
A whole
is
lot
a
of time.
lot of time. Is a lot of time. So yes, Women Radio produced a documentary, and you can see that one on Facebook or on YouTube at WFM 917. You can find it 10 years after. 10 years life after Chibok abduction. You can find the documentary there in case you haven't seen it. Go see it. And yes, also yesterday we had a conversation on the radio with some thought leaders, stakeholders, and human rights activists who over the years have been involved in this conversation,
Mm.
in this struggle for the demanding the release of those girls. And you can also find that one on YouTube as well at WFM 917. And you can just, I mean, catch up on these conversations and use your own space, your own platform as much as you can to demand for the release of those girls. Some of the conversations from the panelists yesterday were really eye opening to note that some of this allocations, what the government has been doing,
Mm.
we really need like more transparency and
Yes, and
accountability
accountability.
in
Yeah.
holding government officials
Yeah, I
accountable.
could see that that was something that Femi Falana did touch light on,
Mm,
the need for transparency, the need for us to be able to hold our government and ask the necessary questions and get the
of course.
answers. And I love also where Okwemi Ademolakun also had to enlighten us about the fact that the disparity of data in knowing, today we're saying 91 are missing, 89 are missing.
That's because there's no proper documentation at the
Yes,
end of the
and that's
day.
a
Yeah.
problem. So
Mm-hmm.
we do not know, okay, how many girls are there to assist, how many more are, missing,
Mm,
how many are still alive, how many are dead, all of these things, and also to enable the parents to have closure
of course.
in this moment. I could, in that documentary, which I really commend, the team behind that right here on Women Radio, that documentary was everything emotional
Yeah.
to me, everything enlightened, everything about touching into the very depth of those experiences by the girls and also by the parents. And it's just amazing that we get to put, because that's what we do right here on
Yeah.
Women Radio, we get to go out there and get all the information that we need so that people get to connect with these stories and know that it's
Sure.
not just happening there, it's something that could happen to anybody
Anywhere, really.
anywhere in
I
Nigeria.
mean, there's something I like to say. I like to say that that which you do not condemn today might just be at your
Oh
doorstep
yes.
tomorrow. And
Mm-hmm.
at that point, you're trying to look at, oh, okay, who's going to come and save me? Nobody's coming to save you
Mm.
because you also have the opportunity to speak against these things. And
Mm-hmm.
you didn't do anything.
Mm.
So that's just it. Do not turn a blind eye at any point in time to any kind of issue that you know that you did not align with or do not agree
Mm.
with your values as an individual. As much as possible, you want to call it out, you want to condemn it, using your platform, your voice, or whatever it is that you can. So, yes,
You
that's it.
just, and Esther, just
Mm,
to add, in case you didn't get to listen to the panel discussion yesterday, you can go over to our YouTube channel. Everything about that discussion, all the guests we had,
mm-hmm.
top notch, knowledgeable, really insightful conversation. You don't want to miss it.
Yeah.
So
So
you
you
go
can
there.
catch up on that on
Yes,
YouTube
including
at
the
WFM
documentary.
917. So just go there and you definitely get an insight into how these people have been living
Mm-hmm.
10 years after this whole incident, and we're still demanding the safe release of those girls. The phone lines are open 07000 917 917, or you can send us a text or a WhatsApp message on 070 317 56537 as we get to review the dailies across different Nigerian newspapers this morning. You can listen live via the website www.wfm917.com. Download the mobile app to listen live WFM 917. Once again, my name is Esther Alaribe.
And I am Miracle Philip.
And we're going to be reviewing the dailies with our analyst this morning. We're going to be speaking to Obide Yolariwaju Lubinko. And you on the other side can always call in on 07000 917 917. And you can send us a text or a WhatsApp message on 070 56537. So we're going to the headlines this morning, and I'll be starting off with the Punch newspapers. On the Punch newspapers, over 1,000 kidnapped victims so far rescued without ransom, says federal government. Military dismisses claims of shooting civilian in Plateau. Shaibu being persuaded to drop petition against Edo CG, says council. INEC tenders document to back Kogi governor's election. Yoruba Nation, lecturer defends participation as police parade 21. Over to the Vanguard.
Okay, on the Vanguard newspaper, you would find boldly written Chibok, 1,680 more Nigerian school children abducted in 10 years. And this is coming from UNICEF. 4.8 billion naira fraud. Court awaits appeal court verdict on Ibito's appeal on jurisdiction. Some of my ex-classmates now have 3 children each for insurgents, says Free Chibok girl. Police arrest man 40 for allegedly killing mother in Akwa Ibom State. Okwama, army lacks powers to deny Oborifori journalists access. This is coming from Delta stakeholders and also Falana.
All right. On this day newspapers, 2024 NBA elections. ECNBA calls for proposals from electronic voting service providers. 2 lawyers, businessmen to be arraigned on April 29 for forgery. Effect of ballot paper not bearing official mark prescribed by INEC. All of this you'll find on this day newspapers. Over to the Nation.
On the Nation newspaper, you'd find boldly written, Clark calls for special task force to rescue abducted Chibok schoolgirls. Kogi poll, INEC tenders documents against SDP Ajaka's petition at tribunal. Alerts $6 billion fraud. Court dismisses Agunloye's application on amicus curiae. Sylvester Oromoni died of natural cause, says coroner. FG allocates 8,925 affordable houses nationwide.
All right. On Daily Trust newspapers, 3 legal tax collectors nabbed for beating drivers conveying palliatives in Benue State. IG to commission new police command in Ogun State today. Octogenarian and 2 others charged with threats on prophetess life. Police refute killing of 14 people, abduction of 15 others in Delta State. Bauchi, police intercept stolen tanker with 35 tons of vegetable oil. Over to the Guardian.
On the Vanguard newspaper, how federal government on the Guardian newspaper, thank you. How federal government rescued over 1,000 abductees without ransom. This is coming from the National Security Advisor. Southwest leaders fault Oyo invasion. Support Tinubu or quit. Matawale tells federal appointees from North. Federal government now pays more for fuel subsidy, coming from El-Rufai. BCDC orders soldiers to leave because local council as death toll hits 30.
Right, and on the pen pushing newspapers, we have Baker bags life sentence for raping underage neighbor. Governor Abiodun swears in Kehinde Onasonya as 20th head of service. This are the headlines across the Nigerian newspapers this morning. Be a part of the conversation. Send us a text or a WhatsApp message on 070 317 56537, and you can call in live 07000 917 917 to be a part of the conversation this morning. Joining us now, we have our analyst, and we're going to be speaking to Obide Yolariwaju Lubinko. Hi, Lubinko. How are you doing today?
Miracle, miracle, miracle. Good morning this morning.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
Esther. I'm good. How are you doing today?
We're doing great. We're doing fine.
Yes, we are.
Thank God for rain.
Mm.
Yeah, right. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
so glad that
yeah,
the rains are here. I mean, gradually the weather feels cooler. I mean,
Mm.
this year has just been
yeah,
interesting when you talk
Hot.
about the weather. I don't know, like
yeah,
there's so much that
yeah.
we need to do in investing in climate change and all of the different prescriptions and recommendations from different organizations, really, because
You know, if only we could just be more intentional.
true.
I mean, by default, we seem to have a good biodiversity here. But if only we could be more intentional and invest more in it. All these trees and greens we see from Lagos to Ibadan to Ondo to Oyo, all of those things matter, but we're just not intentional with that. Nigeria is going to be great in my lifetime.
Oh,
Yes, it will.
definitely,
Yes.
definitely, it will, it will. Now we go into the different reports that we have here. Let's see what we find, Miracle, as we get to analyze the dailies.
Oh, yeah. So we're taking this one from the Punch newspaper. This is coming from the federal government. Over 1,000 kidnapped victims so far rescued without ransom. Now, the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, on Monday said the president Bola Tinubu led federal government has so far rescued over 1,000 kidnapped victims without paying a ransom. Ribardo said this when he received 22 students and staff of the Federal University of Gusau, Zamfara State, rescued on Sunday. The bandits had on September 22nd, 2023, invaded the institution and abducted over 30 students and members of staff. Now, the deputy governor of Zamfara State, Mani Mumuni, who was at the university to sympathize with families and the school authorities over the incident, called on security agencies to hasten the rescue of the kidnapped students. And in a press statement, the spokesperson for the Zamfara State Police Command, Yazid Abubakar, assured that the command would ensure the rescue of all the kidnapped students as it had deployed an additional tactical team for search and rescue operations. Well, in the light of this, Lubinko, one would say it's well applaudable. The fact that the federal government is saying that they've been able to ensure the rescue of victims who are kidnapped. But also, looking at it in the light of the conversations we've had in the past few days, some would say, well, if that has been the case, what leaves out the Chibok girls from being totally rescued without ransom?
Miracle,
Mm.
Esther, I've said it times without number.
Mm.
When it comes to propaganda, we have the best government
Mm.
that this propaganda. Now, let's even look at it from this perspective. I mean, this is just mere propaganda. 1,000 people released. Not one of the bandits has been arrested. Oh, does it mean you just walked to those? I mean, it implicates the government. If you say over 1,000 people have been rescued without paying ransom, I mean, was it just mere negotiation that got them released? I mean, what went into it? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. So if 1,000 people have been released, there is no exchange of gunpowder. There's not one of those bandits or kidnappers or terrorists have been arrested or is under prosecution. It doesn't add up. It doesn't. It doesn't. And we've had cases severally where people come out and only come to the certain amount was paid, certain amount was paid. I mean, we see those who are kidnapped when they are released. They all come out in ready to wear and cool. They are hijabs, the same clothes and everything. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. So I can only take this as another form of propaganda. So and if it is propaganda, then there's nothing to discuss about it. I mean, The Chibok girls are still there. Not only the Chibok girls. As much as this government might want to deceive the people, the reality is there for us all to do. And we need to keep asking them the right question. It doesn't add up. Over 1,000 people have been released in the past 1 year, but not one bandit has been arrested. No one. It doesn't add up. It doesn't.
All right. Thank you, Lubinku, for your comment on that one. The phone lines are open 07000 917 or you can send us a text or a WhatsApp message on 070 56537. This headline on the Punch newspapers: over 1,000 kidnapped victims so far rescued without ransom. Nigerians probably will be asking, or why do we even have to have them kidnapped in the first place? Those are the questions we need to ask. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling us from?
Rosenje from Afara.
Hi, Rosenje. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning, Rosenje.
I'm doing very fine.
Thank you for calling in.
Okay. What I just want to chip in is, no matter what we do, we should always be constructive with our criticism. Now, if government had come out to tell us they have rescued 1,000 without paying ransom or anything like that, and we make our findings before jumping into conclusion, it is mere propaganda. Most of the time we react to headlines. We don't read the news with all the information that comes with it. Information, if make available to the public, might even put the security people on at threat. So if government, if nobody is having anything against government, any threat or whatever against anybody, any information that comes to you, verify that information before you call it true or you call it lie. That is what I just want to keep in. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for your comment, Rosanje Olawale Motiu from Alakbare. The phone lines are open 07000 97917, or you can send us a text or a WhatsApp message on 070 56537. Yes, Lobinko, you want to respond to that?
Yeah, first and foremost, it's really great hearing Rosenda's voice.
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, being able to fix a voice to the name. Anyway, Rosenda, your point is valid, but in life we look at precedences. I talk about news that have been propaganda in nature, emanating from this government. You realize it's almost endless. Part of it is what we are talking about, the Lagos Calabar coastal way is there. Just yesterday, El-Rufai was still talking about government paying more subsidy. And when we talk about kidnap, people, over 1,000 people being kidnapped, there are some information that should not come in this. It's only normal. We saw what happened in Okwama. We saw the response of the government. We've seen what happened in many places, the swift response of the government that brings in to focus the details of what exactly the government is doing. But the government coming out and telling us we rescued 1,000 people without paying ransom, then we should. What we are doing right now is we are not condemning them. We are only asking the right question. So this is not a form of condemnation of the government. We've only said that information is not enough. If we are to go by that information, it is nothing but propaganda. And I stand by that one. It is just nothing but propaganda. If you are telling us you rescued 1,000 people, we should be able to know the effort put in place. We should be able to, who are these bandits? I mean, it's only normal. Because if tomorrow the government can just wake up and tell us 5,000 people have been rescued, 2,000 people have been rescued, and we don't ask this question, we are just going to take it for a ride. Mr. Gray, it's really great hearing your voice. You have a very nice voice. Maybe you should also be coming into. God bless you.
All right, Lubinko, thank you for your response and send your follow up comment 56537. Call in live 07000 9minutes to 8 on your Women Radio WFM 91.7, and we're reviewing the dailies across different Nigerian newspapers this morning. My name is Esther Alaribe.
And I am Miracle Philip.
And our analyst this morning was speaking to Obide Olariwaju Lubinko. So you too can be a part of the conversation. Listen live via the website www.wfm917.com. Looking at some of the messages that we have here, Miracle, what do we have?
Oh, yes, we have a couple of messages that we've received this morning. I would like to start with this one coming from Barrister Ugo Osuji from Fastac. It says, "Good morning, WFM, Esther, Miracle, and our analyst.
Good morning.
Lubinko. Over 1,000 kidnapped victims rescued without payment of ransom and fused, the federal government says, coupled with the unaccountable numbers of Chibok schoolgirls yet to be rescued, underscores the philosophical statement: when evil seeps into the society, it smells of decay. When will all these tales of kidnappings and insecurity be checked in the body politic in Nigeria? Are the sponsors of insecurity and kidnappings in the land too powerful than the federal government? That the Chibok girls saga was a political jiggery pokery designed to scold the good luck Jonathan administration has come home to roost, as kidnapping, banditry, and terrorist galore are the only news in the land indeed. Too bad. On the Yoruba Nation agitators, one wonders what they're asking for. Though the right to self-determination is allowed in international law, United Nations Charter allow African Charter and Human People's Rights. Query: as power is now the willing tool of the man at the helm of affairs at the federal government, which bars him from restructuring Nigeria. Is restructuring Nigeria cast on iron? No, no, no. No, than the hypocrisy of our politicians enjoying the rot in the system. Thank you very much, Barrister Ugo Osuji. This one here is from Olushoga Ajayi from Odonla Ikorodu. Says, when foreigners hear national grid collapse, they may think that we Nigerians always have 24/7 electricity before the collapse. Okay, now the grid has been restored, but where's the electricity? Very good question there. Rosenjo Olawale Matthew from Alapere says, good morning, dear presenter. The drama between TTN and Discos could only happen when the people only elect crooked and corrupt politicians into leadership positions and still cry there are no good leaders in the country. I doubt if our electricity was this worse under the defunct NEPA. People still call it NEPA.
A lot of people actually.
Bad followers will never produce good leaders. Nigeria will be great. All right, this is coming from Martin Stewart, aka Mayor from Ikochwebe. Says, good morning, the crew. Electricity is always collapsed. Since 1 week now, we have been in darkness. APC in 2014 promised Nigerians that if they have been voted in 6 months, they will solve the power problem in the country. But they have spent almost 9 years now, and the situation is even worse than before. This APC people have no shame at all. The only thing they now know how to do better is attack people. Well, thank you very much for your message. That's all we have for now.
All right. Thank you very much for your messages. Keep them coming in on 0703 175 6537, or you can call in live on 07000 917 917. Be a part of the conversation. Listen live at the website www.wfm917. So we move over to this one here, this one on the Vanguard newspapers, and the headline reads, Okwama, Army lacks power to deny Oborevwori and journalists access. This is coming in from Delta stakeholders and Barrister Falano. This report has it that stakeholders in Delta State and human rights activist Femi Falano has said that the Nigerian Army lacks power to deprive the governor and journalists access to Okwama community in Ugedi South local government area, where gunmen killed 17 military personnel and an unspecified number of residents on March 14. We all remember the Okwama story and how it went on the said reprisal attack,
Yes.
people being displaced from their homes, some people having to run into the bush, and up until now, people still live in some kind of situation in that community. And this report speaks to it. Now, stakeholders and Barrister Femi Falana are having to state out that the army has applied the rule of force standards when the military board of entered Okwama last week. Now, saw that there was a report that actually informed us about the army preventing the governor and the state chief security officer and journalists from entering the community, which actually raised a lot of concern to say the governor is the number one citizen. Like whatever it is that is happening in that state, he should know about it. He should have access. But the army had prevented the governor and other, even journalists as well, from going into that community. And now the stakeholders are having to say it is not constitutional. This is not the rule of law. This should not be. And have to look at this report and looking at reaction from different people, having to note that this is not the way to go. The army needs to be able to allow for the governor to go into those places, see what the situation is like. So people who are still in the community can also have access to some kind of, say, palliatives or something, just be able to help them or be able to connect with them, because it is not the way to go at all. Looking at some of the comment here, I will just take some of the reactions from this one and I will look at this one. This one, a lawyer, Dr. Akpo Mudiaga Oje, has said that it is indeed very laughable that in a constitutional democracy like Nigeria, the army is restricting a 7 governor from movement within his state to access the sad situation on ground. And this severely impacts the state and her people. Under the constitution, the army has no power whatsoever, whether in crisis or in the aftermath, to restrict the movement of any Nigerian, how much more a serving governor for that matter. So this one, we're still saying the same thing at the end of the day. Like how is this even supposed to be a thing, Lobinko?
It's every time I think about my beloved country in recent times, I mean, from any angle I'm thinking about it, it's scary, it's worrisome. Was it yesterday or the day before yesterday? I saw a post on Facebook where someone was commending the president and going back as far back as 1999, and never in the history of Nigeria has opposition governors gone to celebrate with the president. Or in less than a year of this current president, every governor, both opposition and non-opposition, have gone to visit the president at his house. First for, I think, Iliya celebration, and then this year for the Ramadan fast breaking. And that got me worried. One thing we've seen in common in our Nigerian politicians is the plundering and looting of our common resources. And now that there is no opposition, and we face a lot of questions to ask, especially when it comes to laundering, especially when it comes to the current APC government. It seems they are doing everything way better than previous government. So invariably, it's like they are cancelling out opposition, because now the president even went as far as saying in 2027, the PDP governors will definitely endorse the coming back of the president. And I mean, if this government impact on the life of the people has been one that gives us peace and all of that, it would have sounded welcome. It would have sounded okay, good. Maybe the sentiment is because but this is the government that is spending most of our resources for the first time. Just between a year, the budget of a particular office was moved from 500 million to 21 billion naira. So we have a situation where it's like corruption is now being legalized, and everybody is saying that, there's a protection. The budget padding case has been swept under the carpet right now. We see the president telling Nigerians that it's because they don't know arithmetic. And it has also come to the fore with the Lagos Calabar Coastal Road that was ITATU budgeted for how much? now given to just one man who did not even bid for it at a whooping 15 trillion naira. That is just the starting cost. I'm very sure that over time, I mean, when the Minister of Works came on air, then he said that this is a project that is not costing Nigeria 1 naira. Invariably, we realized that over 1 trillion had already also been released for this project. You know, it makes us wonder as a people. It's like, even if someone wants to cower us, should we not keep asking the right questions? The fact that we are having all this discourse and some even still feel things are okay is actually worrisome. It's worrisome, and we can only pray to God. I mean, I believe so much in prayer. God should just rescue us from this dilemma, because Esther, God help us.
Okay. Still looking at this report, the reaction of human rights lawyer Femi Falana, noting that it is unacceptable that Okwama has become an occupied territory because of the criminal action of the gang that killed 17 soldiers. While no one can justify the gruesome murder of these soldiers, the entire people of Okwama cannot be held liable for this dastardly conduct of a handful of suspects. Nigeria has ratified and domesticated the Geneva Convention. To that extent, the collective punishment to which the Okwama people are subjected to is illegal. My colleagues, that is Falana's colleagues in the Abuja office, have been denied access to the detained traditional ruler contrary to the provisions of the Constitution and the Administration of Criminal Justice Act. So, just yesterday on the program as well, Barrister Falano was talking to me about how when we're talking about implementation of laws, and I was trying to let him understand that yes, truly, when it comes to laws, we have everything in black and white in Nigeria, but when it comes to implementation, and that was the part where he was talking about how a lot of governors refuse to sign like the death warrant, and we have and lots of people in prison. Yet it's just there's just so much to talk about when you look at Nigeria. Like sometimes, as a Nigerian trying to explain some things that happen in Nigeria to a non-Nigeria, you're having to stop and ask yourself, like, what am I even saying? But that's just what it is. In this regard, like you would expect some kind of response from the government going in there to see the people, what everything is like. But now the army having to stop even the governor from going in there. So if any organization is going in there to provide some kind of resource, palliatives,
or anything.
yes, mental health support, therapy, or anything, they're not getting it. They're not getting it. And that's what this Delta State stakeholders and Barrister Femi Falana also is having to speak about and complain about how the Nigerian people, especially with this case, is being treated under the army. And this needs to be looked into. One of the recommendations here was take the Nigerian army to court. One of the recommendations from the report is saying take the Nigerian army to court, and we know how our court cases in Nigeria would take forever before it gets resolved. But again, we'll get there. We'll still keep talking about these things. 4 minutes past 8 on your Women Radio 91.7, and we're still reviewing the dailies. The phone lines 07000 917 917, or you can send us a text or a WhatsApp message on 0703 56537. We'll look at some of the text and WhatsApp messages that we have here.
Yes, this one is coming from additional Wasio Inikoro. It says, top of the morning to you ladies in the studio. The only way out of the insecurity in Nigeria is either a state police or regional police. This federal police cannot solve Nigeria's insecurity problem unless the current leader wants continued killings of citizens as it is, because killing is still going on without reporting in the news media, and it's unfortunate. Please, the National Assembly members should decentralize security apparatus now before it is too late. Thank you very much. This here is coming from Evangelist Shagun Oyedeji. Says, hi Esther, Miracle. One of our parliamentarians was congratulating your station yesterday for being the only station still discussing the Chibok girls. Yes, that was Chief Agosi. He was the one.
Okay.
I said, yes, you are a pride to motherhood, and women are more emotional when it comes to issues about parenting. Our leaders in this part of the world are totally blind, visionless. Esther, our woes maintain the status quo from one government to another from 1999 till date. No database, national greed collapsing now and then, inflation, insecurity, hunger in the land, unemployment, bad governance, yet they cruise around in the best of foreign made facilities, dole out lies daily to the masses, and our oppressed, impoverished Nigerians fight, hate themselves, and condemn themselves instead of their common enemy. As both the government and the governed should go for some diagnosis. Interesting. Well, this one here is coming from Prince. It says, "Good morning to all good Nigerians. Please, let's stop all these political propaganda and nine-step back assumptions of the government. If a government has rescued 1,000 kidnapped victims, how were they rescued? Please, what is the meaning of rescue? Why are the rest not rescued to date? Why should individuals and family members have to pay for their own release or killed if they don't have it? Nigeria is a joke. Let us go. Restructure Nigeria now." On Okwama, I said last week that the army needs to allow the newsmen and other civil societies to get in, but denying even the state governor and the journalists access gives room for many questions. On electricity, the Nigerian government is robbing me to pay for the rich. Why is it that the poor always pay more without explanations? Paying for fuel subsidy without telling us the truth. God will surely pass through the country. As they're on the Chibok girls, please let's do well as much as possible to remove our minds from those children who are now adults if they are still alive. Those privileged to be alive are now mothers of 3 to 4 children. God help us.
So the thing with this comment, for the sender of this message, Brent, is we cannot, as you said, remove our minds from these children who are now young adult. If my child were to be amongst those that were kidnapped in 2014, I tell you that till date, I cannot forget that child. It is a different thing for me as a mother, as an individual, if I know that my child died and I buried my child. Not for a child that was abducted
and you're not sure,
and I don't know what exactly is being done. All I can do is to just stay hopeful that one day that child will come back. So, like you have said, I cannot, or we cannot remove our minds from it, because it is Chibok girls today. Tomorrow. It can be any other person tomorrow. It could be any other set of children tomorrow. You're not going to tell us to remove our minds from it. Of course not.
You know, I even imagine that, just like he said, we removed our minds from it. Has it stopped the kidnappings? Has it stopped?
More people are still being kidnapped. More children are being kidnapped. So you
Some
cannot
that
ask,
are not even on the news,
that we remove our minds from it. I mean, it is easier for you to say, but you need to see that documentary and hear from the mothers of these girls, now young women. Then you know exactly. You might not be able to relate to their pain, but you would have an insight into how they feel, just in case.
Well, this one coming from Messenger still says, "Good morning, dear presenters. Well, if it were a common Nigerian or an outcasted politician who was the one who made the statement by El Rufai, he would definitely be imprisoned by now for the lack of evidence." Or be on suspension, as witnessed in the case of Ningi. Justice has finally left the world, and more reason US, UK, and other criminal-minded countries are condemning Iran and not Israel that fired the first shot. The end time is near, but humans care less. Bad followers will never produce good leaders. Nigeria will survive. And this here says, "Morning to you in the studio. On the economic index that was released by the MBS, I think the inflation is very high, and I think with the strength of the naira against the dollars and production of diesel by Dangote and other refineries, this will bring down the rate of inflation by the next data that will be released, and we are going to experience a drop in the prices of commodity by next month, hopefully. And on NICM, I think it is a good proposal. We should not be condemning everything in Nigeria. If we don't want change, and change is inevitable." Thank you from Additional. Also, this one here says that the Nigerian army lacks the power to bar the state governor and journalists. into going to Okwamo Bomadi, Delta States, marks of militocracy garbed in democratic setting. Nigerians must put the blame on the doorpost of the presidency, as by virtue of Section 218 of the Constitution 1999 as amended, command and operational use of the Nigerian military is in his hands. Though the killings of the 17 soldiers remain condemnable, suffice to say that the living villagers must have their fundamental human rights respected, no matter whose ox is God. Whatever is happening in Okwama, Delta State, when compared with the criminal actions of bandits that downed the military jet, killing all on board, hope the living in Niger State leave their lives. High time the Nigerian military be regimented to their barracks. This is coming from Barrister Ogo City. All right. That's all we have for now.
Okay, this one, I'll just pick up this one from Rosenja that says, those who go to church seeking non-existent miracles will continue to lose their hard-earned money to fraudulent men of God who attract them with coup and faked testimonies. Nigerian pastors and politicians have a thing in common. They live in affluence at the expense of their followers, but bad followers will never produce good leaders. Nigeria will survive. But when it comes to the case of religion, again, I think it's just an individual thing. As much as possible, whatever religious setting, whatever belief you have, it's a personal conviction.
Yes.
Wherever you want to go to worship, wherever you want to go to serve, whatever it is that you do, just ensure that you have like an understanding with God why you're doing what. And again, if you are in any kind of religious gathering or setting, you still need to be able to understand, okay, why am I here? The words that come out of this place, are they really for me?
Are they edifying?
Do they align with me? So when it comes to talking about fathers of faith and conversations like this, I'm like, it's an individual thing. Whatever it is you want to do, it's up to you, really. You can just do you, and ensure that whatever it is you're doing, you understand and you agree with what is being told to you, because it kind of has a way of just sailing through and it just stays in your mind, and that's what you get to retain. Lobinko.
Yeah, you said it all. Someone like me, I'm not religious. Like I would say, I'm not a Christian, I'm not a Muslim. I'm just simply a believer of Christ. You know, it's good when you call me a Christian. The only reason you should call me a Christian is because you see the traits of Christ in me. And what's the traits of Christ? Love, love, and he is regarded as the purest man that ever walked the surface of the earth, even by opposing religions, So that is it basically. And the beautiful thing that we don't know about Christ is that moment he was on that cross and he said it is finished, and the temple's curtain was torn in two, and he gave every one of us access to God. And like I would always say, I think the major prayer we should be praying in Nigeria is we pray for our leader, that God, all these wicked leaders, let them all, remove them. That should be our major prayer point. Because once those people are gone, you realize that everything, the supposed fake pastors, fake imams and everything, they would be out of business. The only reason why we are, most of us, we are only out to use God, because we tried everything, not because we are lazy, not because we are not hardworking, or not because we lack focus or lose focus, but because those who are our leaders are intentionally decided to keep us in perpetual slavery, in perpetual lack. So we then believe God, and then who are the ones that eat out of this? Of course, the supposed religious leaders. So, like I will always say, religion is never the way out. Faith, and faith is when we talk about faith, it's an individual faith. It's not something that you find in religion. Your faith is personal.
All right. Thank you very much, Lubinko, for your comments right there. Thank you. That's just what it is, really. That is just exactly what it is. 8:15 on your Women Radio 91.7, and we're still reviewing the dailies across different Nigerian newspapers. Listen live via the website www.wfm917.com. Download the mobile app to listen live, WFM 917. You can call in live on 07000 917 917, or you can send us a text or a WhatsApp message on 070 317 56537. Prince, again, talking about forgetting or removing our minds from the Chibok girls. Go see that documentary on YouTube, on Facebook at WFM 917, and trust me, you will not have the same opinion when you have seen it, when you get to hear from the family members, when you get to hear from the survivors themselves, then you would understand that it's not a thing to move on from. It's not like buying a bad product and you're having to discard it because you cannot use it. No, it's not. It's not. That's not what we're talking about here. We're actually talking about people's real lives. I mean, experiences, dreams that have been halted, aspirations that you don't have. You don't have, like, it looks gloomy and everything doesn't just make sense. 10 whole years. So it's not something to remove your mind from. It's not at all. We're going to another report, Miracle. Let's see.
Oh, yes, this one is off from the Nation newspaper, and it is about the young boy who died, Sylvester Oromoni. According to the coroner, they say he died of natural causes. The Lagos coroner inquest into the death of Sylvester Oromoni Jr., a 12-year-old pupil of Dowen College, Lekki, has said he died of natural cause. According to the coroner magistrate Mikhail Kadiri, the death was avoidable but occurred due to parental negligence. He therefore absolved staff of the college of any complicity. This was the thrust of the coroner's verdict, containing a 255-page judgment delivered yesterday at the Justice Ilori courthouse in Ogba. Magistrate Kadiri held that the deceased went through avoidable excruciating pain and needless suffering until his death because of how his parents handled the issue. Now, according to him, the essence of the inquest was to determine how a person died and the circumstances that surround the death. He noted that evidences and reports of the two experts who performed an autopsy on the late Oromoni Jr. said he died of severe septicemia, that's sepsis, as a result of an infection. And he added that he does not believe the version of the family doctor, Henry Agogo's evidence. He did not provide the required duty of care for the patient, whose home care treatment was trivialized despite early diagnosis. The doctor was found to have abandoned the deceased for more than 32 hours and didn't carry out an x-ray and scan earlier enough, which could have revealed his deteriorating condition. Equally, the magistrate also pointed out that despite accusations that the deceased was beaten and bullied, it was not proven because all the accused persons denied. Well, Labinko, do you perhaps see this rule by the magistrate as one that will perhaps give the family closure in this time? Not forgetting that what exactly raised the dust on this particular issue was the case of bullying in secondary schools and how these schools are able to ensure that these sort of incidences do not happen.
Yeah, I really did not get that question.
Okay, I said that, do you think that this would give the family of the young boy closure in this period? Not leaving out the fact that what?
Yeah. Talking about Sylvester now.
Yes.
Anyway, the corona had released the result. I think he should give the case a closure, irrespective. At one point or the other, we just must move on in life. And I want to believe that everybody concerned has learned their lesson, the school authorities. The only reason why it was in the news is because there were instances of happenings within the school premises that the arguments were predicated on. So the school authorities, not even only that school, now every other school, we just must be humane in all whatever we do. And now that the corona said he died of natural causes, I think the family should also move on, irrespective of what they do or whatever justice they want. The boy cannot come back. And I think, considering how far it has dragged, it gets to a point in life where we just say, okay, it's your hands, O Lord, I commit everything, and we move on. Because holding on to the past will always prevent us from moving forward. And as humans, we must know when to let go. And since the corona has come up with this report, I think it's only fair that everybody moves on.
Well, I don't know how this is going to be like for the family. Let's hear what the scholar has to say. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling us from?
It's Rosanjala Ali Mutu calling back.
Hi, Rosanje.
You're welcome back.
Thank you. So on the corona, because over time I've been studying justices, especially judgments, Nigerian courts.
Okay.
And what I discovered was it is the amount of evidence you're able to bring, even if reality supports the case
claims.
you brought before the court. Even if you don't have enough evidences, definitely the court will rule against what you brought, even if it is what it is. So I just don't understand, and that is how it works all over the world. It amazes me when a criminal is caught in the act, and you will say that person is not a criminal until he is declared by a court of law. Everything just points at injustice. And not until we stop that. Not just unfortunate. Not one person cannot change the whole world. But I believe with our little dropping, someday, if God will, the changes will be effected. But the justice system of the world is totally wrong. That's what I just want to say. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Rosenje, for your comment. So when I saw this report as well, and you know, the way the Sylvester Romani Jr.'s case dragged, and a lot of Nigerians were just up and following the case, and now this one is coming out as well to say, again, this report is not saying that, oh, maybe bullying did not happen in school, maybe it wasn't a thing, but from the autopsy carried out, from the report, from the investigations, and again, just like Rosenje has said, when it comes to like the court or law, it is how much evidence that you have. Sometimes we get to see these things. Yeah, we get to see these things. Yeah.
First and foremost, we need to. Rosenje is actually right about the justice system of the world being something else. But whether we like it or not, like someone said, I think it was little by little the earth moves round. By daybreak it.
Oh, Lubinko, we lost connection with Lubinko there. But again, just going back to what we were saying, it's just a case of how much evidence you are able to bring, what the realities are. And sometimes you get to hear some people, the way some cases will go, and you're like, oh, you were so sure that this person was going to. Evidence again. Evidence in every form. So I was having a conversation with somebody, I think about 2 weeks ago or so. The person was talking about how sometimes, so this person had gone through some kind of issue in their life whereby they were accused of something they knew nothing about, and it went into, I mean, this is somebody's personal story I don't want to go into. So for this person, moving on with life, they're overly observant. When you come in, they're looking at the time like, oh, when did this person come in? And this stems from a lot of trauma that they've had to carry on like over the years. So this person was trying to let me know that as much as possible, or want to be carefree, just want to move around, there's some things you should just let it just be part of your subconscious. Or Miracle comes into the studio, at what time did she come in? What time? You're just trying to pick up like different bits of information here and there, just in case anything. You know, sometimes people have cases whereby you are at the police station, they're asking you on the 3rd of April, where were you? And you're thinking, 3rd of April, where was I? Where was I? Not because you've done anything criminal, not because it's just you not paying attention enough, just because you cannot remember what happened that day or how that day went. And you're just there. Again, being observant, being able to pay attention to your environment, being present in the, sometimes you are in some spaces, but you are not present. If you're somebody who is always absent-minded, you don't pay attention. Nah, this is your call to come back to reality, really. Because sometimes you go into some places, there's sometimes where people are doing stuff in a room where you are. But because they know that you're always absent-minded or you're always nonchalant, they'll do a lot of things and get away with it. And I mean, Jesus be a shield, and you're just there, and there's a camera watching you, and it's going to be a case of, oh, you were in the room, you were in the know, and you didn't even know anything, or you were not even paying attention. How would you do that? So I can understand where Rosenje is coming from, talking about the justice system and what this one is. Prince is having to respond to this message, and he's noting. He said, "On removing our mind from these girls after 10 years, his personal opinion is just to put the good Nigerians and parents on the safer side of hope. It is not easy, but it is better." Then he also says that this is the time for the government to restructure Nigeria. On Israel and Iran, I think the international community has to beg Israel to pardon Iran without retaliation. Well. This conversation's really, I mean, there's just a whole lot going on in the world. I mean, away from Nigeria, there's just so much. Following up on the news, different reports, it's a lot really. But yes, we've done this one this morning.
Yeah,
Miracle.
we have.
Thank you for doing this with me this morning. It's always a pleasure being here on the show and having you join me as well.
Thank you very much, Esther.
And thanks to Lodinko for joining us. Thank you for analyzing the dailies with us this morning. My name is Esther Alaribe. Do well to join us again tomorrow at 7:30 as we get to review the dailies across different Nigerian newspapers. And keep it locked down on Women Radio 91.7 as we bring you different programs coming up at 9. We'll bring you the news at 9. 5 minutes past 9, we'll bring you Panorama. And at 10, we'll bring you Radio Doctor. And trust me, it promises to be insightful and informative as always. The phone lines 07000 917 917. And you can send us a text or a WhatsApp message on 070 56537. My name is Esther Alaribe. Good morning.
Have you been a victim of corruption? Do you want to report how corruption affects you and your community? Send an SMS or WhatsApp message to 0703 175 6537.
Are you a business owner looking for a fun-filled event to showcase your products and services? The Women Radio Children's Day Fun Fair is the right place for you. Book a stand for as low as 20,000 naira. Venue, Funktop Schools, 2122, Journalist Estate Road, Avrekpo, Ogun State. Date, 27 May 2024. Time, 10 a.m. For more inquiries, please call 0905 555 8668 or 806 009 2137.